Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2 of the Racer Insider Show. I'm Travis Turner. Joining me on the stage is the Racer Insider, Lindy Suter. And Lindy, a couple of things I got to get to right out of the gate. First of all, a belated happy birthday. I mean, you got yours for me on time, but we'll let the audience join in with a happy birthday to the Racer Insider. Pretty good couple of days for you. A birthday, hopefully some chocolate cake was involved there somewhere. And then you follow it up with a Racer season opening victory yesterday. You, my friend, are off to a great start here to the 25-26 season.
Yeah, that win got it off to a good start. That's for sure. They got the chocolate cake out here in the lobby. We're fixing to get
Attaboy.
a little bit after we get through here with the podcast. But
Well,
yeah,
some just desserts.
yeah, was super excited to get the season going yesterday. Being part of the field of 68, I thought was pretty cool. I watched several of the games during the day. And, I was a little uptight about the game because you don't never know, but it all turned out really good. And it was actually a really good win. I didn't realize that Omaha team had so many guys returning.
Well, and Lindy,
nine guys returning, and then we had 15 new players. So that was kind of a good matchup.
well, and the anticipation factor is great, right? I mean, you like to be excited. I know the fan base is excited and a big opening day. And one thing the guys on the broadcast yesterday talked about was making a big deal out of the start of college basketball season. I agree. It is a big day, and for fan bases excited like Murray State is, it's kind of a holiday in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it sure is. Look forward to it every year. Glad to be part of it this year, though.
Want to remind folks we are brought to you by our friends at Suter Insurance, and a little information for you there we'll put up on the screens. My Suter Insurance Group, 270-753-5842, and it is SuterInsGroup.com on the web. But of course, we have their best representation on the screen. My friend, again, tell us a little bit about you and your great team there at Suter Insurance Group.
Well, first of all, Travis, today I think I want to talk a little bit about a product that we have because it's kind of that time of the year where you got open enrollment going with the seniors. And I just want to let the folks out there that if you are in that age bracket, 64, 65 and older, got any questions about Medicare, because believe me, I've been there and I've got hammered in the mail with all kinds of stuff and 800 people calling me. And actually right here in Murray, Kentucky, over here on Sycamore Street, a lady by the name of Martha Harper is what I call an expert. I would not trust anybody any more than her when it comes to making a decision, especially if you're a senior.
Well, and Martha also a great lady, Lindy. No doubt people will feel cared for when they're working with her.
Yeah, and I tell you what, she's got a little secret too. She's a heck of a picker of football games, NFL games. We got a contest that runs every week with one of our vendors. There's about 60 people that are in this thing, and she has a couple of crowns.
So you're telling me if I need some good advice coming up on this week's games, I need to check with Martha.
Just call Martha.
All right, that sounds good. Well, you've already talked about your excitement, the great season opening victory, but we'll take you into Coach Suter's press conference here. Just some of your big takeaways, some of the impressions that you got from yesterday's 85-77 win over Omaha. Take it away, Coach.
Well, I think the depth played a part again. I mean, you look at the depth. We played without Fred King, arguably maybe our best player on the team, possible first team all-conference player. Playing without him, KJ Tenner going down early, 10 minutes, I think, of playing time because of a concussion. And, we had guys that just stepped up, and that's a real benefit. That stood out to me. Of course, you know me, free throw champion.
Absolutely.
So proud of my guys yesterday. 30 out of 33. I mean, that is just really good. And that's 2 games in a row where we've nailed them down the stretch, Travis. And you know how important that is. How many games have we seen disappear because we didn't hit free throws?
Well, it's enormous, Lindy, and especially on a day where they did not shoot the basketball particularly well from the field, to be able to go to that well again and again. And in true, I know you won lots of Optimist Club titles at the free throw line, and Roman and Javon, they were right there with your brother. Combined, those guys 20 for 20, a box score anomaly you don't see very often. 2 guys on the same club going 10 for 10.
10 for 10. It was that's really good, really good. And then the effort that was put out, the defensive effort by the guys was consistent the whole game. I thought got off to a little bit of a slow start, and that's kind of a little bit of a concern. The last 2 games, it seems like we got off to a slow start. But the good news is we came back both games and played really strong second halves. And, I was really impressed at the fact with Lane Taylor playing 31 minutes yesterday at the level that he was playing and at the energy level he was playing. I really liked his enthusiasm. I think he's kind of the rah-rah guy, on the floor. And boy, he made some really good plays too. And I was impressed with that. JJ coming back, his first game back. Maybe you didn't see a whole lot offensively, but I saw a lot of other things. He had 3 block shots, 3 steals. And, you can tell that he's just going to get better and better. So there were some real good positives, lots of positives. Now, I would like to beat them by 14, and I think we should have beat them by about 14. But I think at the end of the game there, it kind of got a little, how it gets. And against Xavier, we had KJ and Lane in together.
Right.
And today we didn't have that option, and I think it kind of showed a little bit. But I think that's something, as a coach, you can correct that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and Lindy, I would say this, and obviously Coach Miller and the staff, everybody is always striving to play the perfect game.
Right.
Obviously, that's not going to happen. You can get close, but I don't think you even worry about it in November, because if you're playing that well, then you get a little nervous about your peaking too soon. I think what coaches love is the opportunity to go in the film room and show the guys, hey, fellas, we were great here. But we've got this much ceiling to gain here. I mean, that to me, that's the exciting thing when you evaluate this thing in totality. Again, as you mentioned, first of all, you're playing without the most dominant physical presence on your basketball team in Fred King. So Omaha was not at full strength either, and they were missing another big fella up front for them. So that kind of balances out to a degree. But this team knows who they are identity-wise based on Fred King's presence. So they manage that absence. Then you lose another ball handling option, and KJ with his injury, and down the stretch is where that would have come home to roost most. But yeah, there's just all these things that you can say to the fellas, hey, we didn't do this well. We didn't do this well. So we know we're going to keep getting better. We've talked about the continuity piece. You try to piece all these guys together, all this talent. You're looking for the right combinations, the guys that complement each other best. But with what you said, Lindy, I want to build off that because the big takeaway for me was the effort, the intensity with which they played. Obviously, the execution, first 10 to 15 minutes of the first half, it was ragged, trying to find their way. And again, Omaha doing their job, of course. But the 15 minutes of basketball played, the 5 to close out the first half, the opening 10 of the second half, that was a performance worthy of a conference champion.
Oh, no question about it. And that same thing stood out, as I said, just the competitives. You can tell that they're competitors. You can tell that they want to win at all costs. And that's a very important quality to have. Also, I was impressed with Coach Miller. I thought he coached a really good game, his first game. Of course, when you read about his resume, it is pretty impressive, isn't it? All the guys that he's worked for.
Absolutely.
It really is. And, for him to go back home, and, that game was not a for sure win by any means.
Absolutely not.
It was a 4-point line, I think, in Vegas, and which I thought was, if I'd have been one of those types that wagered, I think I'd have took a little bit of that. But I'm not. So I didn't, but gave out some good advice. But
and it was the kind of game, Lindy, that you want to have on your schedule to prepare you for the rigors of conference play. I mean, and that's what November and December, the work up to those conference games, that to me, that's what everything's about, getting yourself ready for, in Murray State's case, Missouri Valley Conference play. I want to go back to Lane for just a minute. I know you had to enjoy the fact that he was who we thought he was off the film we watched last year. You watched him at live games. I went back and studied some of his tape, but he's a guy I call an EFP guy. He is about effort. He is about fire. He is about passion. And you watch the kind of performance that he gave yesterday, and you can see a guy that's going to be really easy for Racer Nation to love.
Oh, I thought that from the very beginning. And like you said, we saw it yesterday. We saw a lot of it yesterday. The passes he's made. I was impressed with his defense on the ball yesterday. I mean,
his effort was great.
He was really getting up there. Now, it'll be interesting, like you said earlier, if we run into a big guard, But in our league, I don't know how many of those guys are out there. Really hadn't seen all the teams. Saw several of them yesterday. I did think we were as good as or better than the ones I saw yesterday. Just the eye, just
Right.
by watching them. But yeah, his like I said, he's the rah rah guy. He's the guy that I think is going to really get that crowd going when things are going good.
Yeah, and I think he energizes his club. I think that's something you saw some of the big moments. And let's also spin back to JJ for a second, Lindy, because I know that as you and I have talked about how we'll present this each week as we break down each racer game, is there's always going to be a guy maybe who was the star of stars. Although on this club it could be a different guy every night. We've already started to see that, but we've also talked about identifying guys who maybe their contributions are greater than we can see in the box score. And I thought a lot of what JJ did on the defensive end was just that. And athletically, you're talking about a special player here. His length, his speed, his bounce. He's going to be a guy you can see him being a huge force on the defensive end, whether on the ball or in help. He's a guy on the backboards. I think on the offensive board, again, he is just that pogo stick, quick leaper. And one thing I hope that they'll do with him some, especially when Fred is not available or not in the game, is I hope they'll run him down on the box a little bit, because I think he does have enough strength, enough length, enough lift to finish down there. But that guy who is going to help you change the game without having to take up a lot of the shot total. They're very valuable pieces when you're trying to fit this much talent together.
Yeah, especially the way he plays the position as rim protector. What have I said all along, all these years in talking? Give me a rim protector. Give me a shooter. Give me a ball handler. Give me a rim protector. He's the rim protector. 3 block shots. One of the steals could have been called a steal or a block. It was kind of a half one, half
Right.
the other. But I was really impressed with that. Like you said, he's a pogo stick. And, I've seen him in practice knock down several of those threes. I think he might have shot 2 yesterday. I don't know. Missed them both, I think. But he is capable of hitting that 3.
Another thing that you watch for when you have guys who are so talented, are so worthy of being on the floor. And of course, 9 guys played yesterday, 8 played at least 16 minutes. The only player who didn't was KJ, dealing with the hip injury. But you're looking for, are these guys happy for each other? Is there a cohesiveness? Is there a bond there? And I thought we saw a lot, whether it be guys on the floor coming to the huddle, guys on the bench, a lot of high fives, a lot of guys with high energy based on a great play made by somebody else. That's a very good sign to see.
Yeah, it is. One of them stands out to me, and watched it a while ago again, is when I think JJ made a play and got fouled. And it was Lane Taylor comes running up to him and gives him the good chest bump and the celebration. And there's guys that jump right up off the bench, and that's always a great sign, especially like you said, with the playing time and so many good players. It's going to be so important for this team. And I saw no signs of any selfishness or jealousy yesterday.
Lindy, one of the things I'll share with you that kind of a neat number from the game yesterday, running through the box, the Racers 23 of 59 from the field, 9 of 32 from 3. Of course, you talked about that 30 of 33 performance from the free throw line, 10 offensive rebounds in the game, 12 assists to 14 turnovers, a lot of those coming against pressure late, and we'll address that a little bit. But you know how much I love my analytics and I love my numbers. And the Racers getting to 85 points yesterday, despite not shooting it well from the field, despite not shooting it well from 3. The free throw total, of course, helps. But, Lindy, so does pace, so does tempo. 87 possessions in the game. And my number over on the women's side, the number we look for is 90. So the fellas getting real close there. They were at 0.966 points per possession. But in transition, Lindy, and they are the Racers. And boy, you want to talk about a group that needs to get there. This is kind of an incredible number for this standard when we study this stuff. 14 transition opportunities yielded 26 points.
Oh,
That is 1.857, so nearly 2 points of possession, which is about as good as you can do in terms of efficiency. They were 6 of 8 from the field. Now, keep in mind, only 9 of 32 from 3. But in transition, brother, they were 4 for 4. Get out and go, boys.
Get out and go. You can tell that's what and that's what coaches trying to get them to do. You could all night long. You could see him going, get down. After the other team made a shot, let's go, get on down the floor. And you're exactly right. I paid attention to that. I used to not pay attention to that kind of stuff, but last night one of the first things I actually did was go and see how many possessions we had.
Well, that's what's going to determine where that number gets, because you have to be incredibly efficient. Let's say that you have, 55 to 60 possessions. You're going to have to average well over a point of possession if you're going to get into the 70s or 80s. And again, in a situation where the Racers weren't particularly efficient shooting the ball from the field, thanks to the foul line rate and also to the number of possessions in the game. And one thing you can look for, and we'll share this stuff with you guys all the time. Overall, the Racers were at 0.966, again, 0.97, just south of 1. I think Coach Miller will tell you they would like to be at 1 or better. That's going to speak to some pretty serious efficiency if you can get there. Really a really high, kind of what will be an excellent rating would be somewhere close to 1.1 defensively. And with coaches, we'll kind of talk in a minute about what coaches are looking for there in terms of how they evaluate defensive performance. But the effort was absolutely there. But they held Omaha to 0.885. And the difference there, Lindy, again, is not very much, 0.97 to 0.89. It's 0.08 is the difference. If the possessions are small, that 0.8 doesn't add up to very much. But the more that possession number gets higher, and then your margin advantage multiplies by that number, and that's how you get your margin. So on nights when you get to 90 possessions, and that difference is, let's say it's as much as half a point, then you're talking about you're blowing somebody out. And coaches tend to have an idea of where they want tempo to get to, where they want pace to get to. That can be sort of an out there in the air sort of number. How do you quantify that? Well, you quantify it by how many possessions you can create. That's where turnover creation, offensive rebounding, the great Hubie Brown used to tell people, if you want to win basketball games, just have more possessions than your opponent. Just get more shots up than your opponent. Lindy, another number we look at over on the women's side to get to where they get point total wise, shots on goal. That's field goal attempts plus free throw attempts. The number we want to get to every night is 90. The Racers yesterday, 59 field goal attempts, 33 free throws. That's 92 shots on goal. That'll get it done.
That'll get it done, Travis. Boy, I love that stuff.
Well, then stop by the Racer Insider Show. We're going to have it for you.
I just sit here and get educated every episode, every breakfast. He comes up with something I ain't never thought about.
Oh, well, we're talking about the defensive piece. They knew what they wanted to take away. And this is why, I don't know what Coach Miller will say. He'll have the final word on this. But the reason I thought they did such a good job defensively was you knew the preseason first-team All-Teamer Tony Osborne, he could really shoot it. He could score it. You wanted to take him away. I thought the guys did a phenomenal job of that. They knew there wasn't going to be a great weapon down around the basket, so they really put pressure on the perimeter, force guys to drive it into uncomfortable spots. Help was always rotating. With this club, length is always coming. They didn't leave the shooters. They did a proper job with a scouting report there. For me, from the outside, without knowing exactly what they wanted, thought they did a lot of great things on that end of the floor.
Oh, they sure did. And I think they got, if you could catch them, I had it turned down some. But those guys that were actually watching the game there, doing the TV or the YouTube, they made a comment about that also.
Yeah.
How they had worked on all that stuff in practice, and how you could see it coming together. And you're right, the length. I love the length. Really love the length. And I think that as the year goes on, I think this team is even going to get better defensively. I think we're going to shoot better too. The 3-point shooting, unless I'm just wrong, and maybe some of the wrong guys were taking the 3-point shots. I'm not really for sure. It was really good to see Miller hit those threes yesterday.
Mason shot it really well.
Shot it well yesterday, and that was a big in the win. Actually, was him shooting good. But I think that'll get better, and I do think the defense will even get better too. I really do.
Yeah, Lindy, they're not going to.
And
They're not.
he's a pretty good defender too.
Yeah, he's really good. He's a guy that does such a great job making the opposing primary ball handler uncomfortable because he's going to turn you. He's going to make you run your offense 5 feet deeper than you wanted to. He's going to get you turned. He's going to make that entry pass really, really difficult. And when that is happening and you've got the length and the quickness that these guys have around the dial, one of the things that struck me about the size of this basketball team is Braden Shorter a couple of times. And Braden's a guy that when he comes onto the floor, he's known more for his shooting, what he'll bring offense than on the defensive end. But he is 6'4", 6'5". I mean, he is a big guard. He is a legitimate wing size player. And there were a couple of times where Omaha had him fairly deep in decent position to finish a basket, but you're not working over a guy that's 6'1". You're going against a guy that's 6'5", that's got some heft. They couldn't finish. Racers come around with the defensive rebound, a big stop there. And so just, again, the challenge of that presence, because sometimes when you think about length, you're thinking about 7-footers and 6'10", but length is something that can be all over, just like with Roman. He's a guy that is interchangeable in a lot of ways. He could be playing the 5 offensively, but he can also guard a guy on the wing. And it's not easy to work against a guy that's 6'9". So a lot of weaponry to deploy.
Yeah, that's another thing you mentioned, Roman, and I think he did some really good things yesterday, but I think you won't see him turn the ball over that many times. And I think he did get a couple of bad calls personally, but you could tell, boy, he plays with a lot of fire himself. When you look at him, you wouldn't think that, but boy, when you start watching him play and he starts competing, it kind of goes to a different level. But his potential is really, really he's going to just get better and better too. That's what I keep thinking after watching yesterday's game. I mean, you got a starter out, you got 2 starters out basically. And, Roman has a good game, but it is his first college game and he's trying to adjust, I guess, to the American game too, that we'll probably take
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
a little bit for granted. But, man, he made some moves yesterday. You're just thinking, how does a 6'9", 6'10" guy do that? And very encouraging.
Well, and you see the free throw total, Lindy. I mean, and that tells you how slippery he is. I mean, he got himself into positions they had no other recourse than to foul him.
Yeah, and then you look, another stat I want to mention before we go is Lane Taylor had 6 rebounds yesterday, I think. Is that right?
Yep.
And looking at his stat line, he was, he had 12 points, he had 6 assists, and he had 6 rebounds. And a lot of hustle plays.
A lot of hustle plays. Well, and Lane is a guy that, part of the reason why he's as tough as he is, why he plays with the fire he does, he's been used for a long time for people dismissing him and undervaluing him because of his size.
His size.
Yeah. He knows how the world sees him. And so that junkyard dog mentality it's been there. Again, when Lindy saw Lane last year for the first time watching Central Arkansas, he was like, you have to check this kid out. You have to. And immediately his passion and his swagger, his willingness to make the big play. And again, a guy like Lane may occasionally take a shot that coach goes, oh, no. And he may occasionally make a pass that's a little bit too risky, but he's not afraid.
No.
And when you get into big moments, you want guys who are not afraid. You want guys who are playing to win and not to lose. And I just love what we see. I think having the ability to deploy both Taylor and Tenor against people. And as you mentioned, if next time KJ's available down the stretch against pressure, now you got 2 ball handlers, you got 2 shot creators, be a big deal. But good to have Lane Taylor in Murray, Kentucky. No doubt about that.
Well, no question about that. He's like we talked about before, and I'll probably talk about him all year because he's my kind of guy. And it's probably because of what you just said. He's kind of the little guy. He has to throw everything into it to prove everybody. And you can tell by some of his moves he makes under the basket that he's got some unorthodox moves where he can get the shot off and make the shot. But his just all around hustle was just really, really good yesterday. Brought a lot of energy to the team.
Lindy, I thought Javon Jackson showed his veteran presence, especially early in the game when somebody just needed to take it on their shoulders, get to the rim, get to the foul line. We saw a real veteran guy there. Was just impressed with his ability to keep getting himself to the foul line. Again, he made a couple of threes, and shooting from the perimeter is not really the strength of his game. But this is a tough kid.
Oh, he's a real tough kid. In fact, if somebody would ask me who's the player that has probably surprised you the most, I would say it's probably Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, the Xavier game, he played really well. It was the Xavier game, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and he played really good yesterday. I mean, 20-something points. I mean, you can't argue with that. He made his free throws too. He's and he's strong. He, like you said, he can get to the basket. He can get to the free throw line. And you're right. You can just see the maturity too. He's been there.
How nice is it, Lindy, too? You mentioned having rim protection and JJ doing a great job there, but our big man Anderson is he's just a physical presence, Lindy. And I thought he got the short end on a couple of whistles yesterday, but he did a great job of being big around the rim.
And that's what we need him to be, is to be big. And I thought he played well. He's a 7-foot guy. I mean, he does have some coordination to him, and he can shoot free throws too. And like you said, just him going like this. God, did I just do that?
Well, you're not supposed to do that.
I'm supposed to do that. But anyway,
it's a good group, and again, I think as much excitement as anything is getting it done without Fred King. It's going to be nice when the big fella's good to go and can provide the presence. It'll change a lot of things because of the gravity and the attention he's going to get from opposing defenses. I mentioned to you before we started recording, when the ball goes into the well, if he's got a deep catch, defenses are in trouble.
Yeah, no question about it. I can't wait to get him back in there. I don't think that the injury is anything too serious. Have you heard anything out there?
Nothing that would suggest long-term problems. I mean, you got to be careful early, of course.
I figured yesterday they could have used him if they needed to use him yesterday.
Right.
In my opinion. But, and that's a really good thing to win that game without him. And, all the publicity we got yesterday, it was big. I mean, a lot of people were tuned into that. Maybe not just the regular day college basketball fan, but a lot of the guys that cover college basketball were watching it yesterday.
Oh, and absolutely.
I think we impressed them, most of them. I know Sean Paul had a really good comment about us, and several people saying you better keep an eye on them. And, all they'd had to do was call us about a month ago.
That's right. Well, and when you think about, you mentioned Ryan Miller's coaching background.
Yeah.
But when you think about how long he's been in the game, the places he's been, the media are very familiar with him. And obviously because of Mike's career as a great player at Florida, his career in the NBA, I mean, this is a well-known family brand in basketball. They know a lot of people. It's naturally putting a lot of eyes on them. And I think the basketball community is always curious whenever there is a complete roster turnover. It's an experiment. They want to see, hey, how does this work? And then you've got the international flavor with Roman and Matisse. And so, hey, we got a couple of Frenchmen here who we hear can really play. Let's see what these guys are all about. I think there is a lot about this club that is attractive, just a curiosity right now to see, hey, what does Ryan Miller do with these guys down at Murray State? It was also nice yesterday to hear the broadcasters talk about the brand. And respect, Lindy, what it's been, the great players that we've had. And you want to get back to that recognition and now to set Murray State men's basketball up as a kingpin in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah. And how about the Gruden thing on?
Oh, that's hilarious.
That is really good.
That was hilarious.
I don't know whose idea that was to get that together, but that was really good. There's no telling how many views that's gotten.
Yeah, the gear piece.
One of the box. That was a nice box full of stuff, wasn't it?
Oh, it was incredible. And see, that's one thing on Gruden's show. People send him gear, so they do that, on a regular basis. But not only do you get Gruden, you get Frank Caliendo doing Gruden.
Right.
Yeah, they really did a dynamic job. And it looked like Coach Gruden might have been working off a little script in front of him. He had his cheat sheet there on Murray State history.
Yeah.
But he knew to throw out our man Popeye Jones. He had some names ready there to show that he was familiar with Murray State. But that was a very cool branding opportunity.
The only thing he got wrong was Tom's Kitchen. I don't know where it's at, but Tom's Grill is pretty good.
I do love Tom's Grill myself, absolutely, and obviously our friends out at Sirloin Stockade. So that was a neat thing. And Lindy, the internet. Hey, you're now a YouTube star, brother. Have you thought about that at all?
YouTube star.
People are watching Lindy Suter. They go home on their smart TV and they bring up that YouTube app and they pull up the Barrels and Buckets channel. They're watching you on the big screen.
I kind of like that.
Well, we'll be up into the thousands soon enough. We need to get in touch with Gruden. He'll help us. He'll help us grow our audience. So Mississippi Valley's coming up on Friday. They opened up, got run out of the building in Birmingham, as you might expect. I think 106-55 was the final there. Backcourt performer Michael James had 25 for Mississippi Valley State. He didn't shoot it real well. They were 16 of 55 as a club, but James got to the foul line 10 times. He made all 10. So that might have been one of the most 10 for 10 free throw line days in college basketball history yesterday. One thing about Mississippi Valley State, they will bring some size, Lindy, into the CFSB Center. They have 7 players on the roster, 6'7" or taller, including 2 that are 6'10". But one would expect the focus on Friday night for Murray State is doing what they need to do. They'll be heavy favorites. They should be. This will be about Ryan Miller's guys getting sharp for what continues to come next.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It should be a fun game to watch. Anybody that wants some really good entertainment Friday night. And, I encourage people, like I said, the last podcast, I mean, you need to get on board now because this is going to be a really fun year, going to be a competitive year. I mean, it really is. Some really big games to look forward to.
And it is a fun team to watch. I mean, that's what struck me watching the full 40 minutes yesterday. I can get behind anybody, Lindy, and obviously everybody wants more wins than losses, but I can get behind anybody that plays with great energy, great effort, that looks like they love what they're doing. I saw that yesterday. That'll get my eyeballs back next time.
Yeah, it sure will. And, and you can tell they want to win. They want to win. They're competitive. And like you said, they're all ballers. Every one of them.
Before we wrap up, my friend, I'll mention my wife's club, the Lady Racers, as you like to call them, the Racer Women in Action. Last night, their exhibition against Trevecca, they win that 102-61. They open with 35 points in the first quarter, and that's exactly what we're looking to do. And I want to remind you about this club. Obviously, we're missing the great All-American Caitlin Young, who is now proudly part of our coaching staff, and Ava Learn, another first-team All-Missouri Valley performance, move on. But the All-Missouri Valley guards are back, Hallie Polk and Haven Ford. They were terrific last night. But this program last year, folks, entering the NCAA tournament, they were number 1 in the nation in scoring in Division I. Now, a rough day against Iowa, they ended up falling to number 2, but just shy of 87 points a game last year. It is a fun watch. Again, 35 in the first quarter. This year, hoping to average at least 90 a game. Haven Ford, 22 points. Lindy, she was 6 of 6 from the field, 4 of 4 from deep. Somehow she missed a free throw, 6 of 7 to the line. I don't know what happened there. 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Polk had 20. She made 4 threes. Sharnice Curry-Jelks, our transfer from Indiana, 17 points, 6 rebounds for her. Keslin Sechrist coming in from Indiana State. She had 14. And Braxton Baker, 3 threes and 13 points, 33 of 62 from the field, 11 of 25, 44% from deep, 25 of 31 from the foul line. Lindy, 93 shots on goal. Get to 90. You're going to be in good shape. They open up on Friday at Southern Indiana.
Southern Indiana, which is probably they were a tough game last year, weren't they?
They beat us last year, Lindy. That's still a source of discomfort here at my house.
Oh, I would imagine. I was thinking about that when I thought we're going to Southern Indiana. I said, we're going to probably get tested.
Yeah, it will absolutely be a test, and that obviously is why they're going. So that for them, they'll go up against the Screaming Eagles there on Friday, and that's a double header at Southern Indiana. Their men will be playing later in the night, so I believe that's a 5:00 tip on Friday. So you'll be able to put eyeballs on the Racer women early in the evening, and then the Racer men against Mississippi Valley State at the CFSB Center. My friend, any closing thoughts as we end episode 2?
Well, Friday night's a big night in Murray, Kentucky. We've got the Racers playing on Friday night, and we have the Tigers playing in the playoff game on Friday night.
It's your favorite time of year when you got it all going.
I predict the margin, adding the two together, will be 100.
We'll take it. Wisdom from the Racer Insider. My friend, thanks for helping us through episode 2 here today. We'll be looking forward to seeing our Racer Nation fans coming up next week. As always, you get the final 2 words.
Go Racers.